rivals, this is Xonia, and you are in the zone. Today, we're going to be doing a kind of news report thing. Recently, the Semi-Evo have been reintroduced to ELO, and a lot of people have had some very divided opinions about this, and so I was really curious about this, and so I was thinking about it myself, and I thought, I want to give my opinion, and then I thought, I don't think anybody really cares about my opinion, but I thought maybe people will care about the top people in ELO's opinion. So, what I did was I sent a message to the top 100 ELO players on Thursday. And this was the message. Hello, if you don't speak English, you can delete this. I'm really sorry. If you do speak English, I'd like to ask two questions. I'm asking the top 100 ELO players about the new Semi-Evo and ELO changes. I have a YouTube channel for English speakers, and I want to give the opinions of the best players this week. The two questions were, 1, how often have you seen Semi-Evo cards in ELO this week? And 2, are you for or against, or do you not care about the Semi-Evo ELO changes? And then why? Just a short answer, please. I'm really sorry to bother you, and thank you for your time. You can watch this video for your own information this coming Monday. Their names, I'm going to keep a secret in order to prevent backlash if they were for or against, or to give away their strategies. Some of them said, I use this card, unless they specifically said otherwise and said that it was okay. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to summarize their answers and then list the major points that they brought up. And out of the 100 people I sent it to, 45 of them responded. Man, that just blows my mind. Thank you guys so much. If you are one of those 45 that responded and you came here to watch this video, thank you so much. It means a lot to me that you responded to this so that I could get this out to the community and let them know kind of what the top ELO players were thinking at that time. I'm really sorry if my summary was off, though. Sometimes your answer didn't fit strictly in one of my categories, and so I just had to make a judgment decision, and so I'm really sorry if I put it in the wrong one. At the end, I'm going to summarize all the main points and place both sides' ideas side by side so that you can come to your own conclusion. I will not give you my opinion in this video. This is strict journalism reporting. Okay, and you can click down here at the bottom if you just want to skip straight to the final breakdown and analysis at the end. Alright, well, let's get to it. I'm going to read these really fast. I'm really sorry I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I got 45 of these to read through. So, let's get into it. First, hey Xonia, I'm speaking a little bit of English, no problem, and I've seen very often Semi-Evo cards this week, like Charlie 3-star, Yayoi 3-star, and Marcus 4-star. I'm using them myself. I don't really know what I should think about this new opportunity for deck building. On one hand, cool new decks are coming, but on the other hand, the prices of cards like Vermin N have exploded. I hope this helps a little bit. Your answer for question 1, maybe around 10 battles, I've seen 2 or 3 players that brought Semi-Evo cards with their deck. And for question 2, I'm happy to see these new Semi-Evo cards in my enemy's deck, because Semi-Evo cards are not full Evo cards, which means the card is weak in power or damage. I never play with Semi-Evos. I don't like them personally, but I accept this in ELO. If I want to make the top 100, I need to beat everyone, with Semi-Evos or not. Hello, I'm really glad to help. For question 1, I've seen Semi-Evos like 2 or 3 times out of the 10 games, but it depends on which players you're fighting, or if you're playing against good players or richer ones, then you'll probably face many more. Question 2, I don't really care to tell you the truth. I don't use it because I don't have the money for them, but they do help a bit, I would say. It's like the guys that can buy them and have more cards to play them than the ones who can't, but I like it, and it reminds me of the old ELO with Chakra and Ratana and Pussycat's Semi-Evos, so I guess I'm neutral. Hey, I do speak English, not very well, but I think I'm okay with it. I know who you are, and I do watch your videos sometimes. Thanks for that. This week, I saw a lot of people using Semi-Evo cards, and I think now everyone wants to try them, but they will stop because no one can afford to buy them, I think. Really, I don't care that I think it doesn't give really a change in ELO, but it's just my opinion. Hope you understand my bad English. Your English was great. Hi, I speak, but not so good. Till Wednesday, I didn't see any. I'll write you later about this. And for number 2, I like this idea. Many clans received some much-needed cards. For example, 4-star Pericles for Riots and 3-star Nail for Vortex. For number 1, I averaged about every 3 matches. And for number 2, I am against it because I think that ELO doesn't need any changes. Second, although I have a card, I'll have to buy the same card again at a lower level. It's unaffordable for some players. And the last reason is that probably, I'm not sure, but Semi-Evo cards are leveled during playing in ELO. Which is true, by the way. How often have you seen them? I would say 3 times out of 5, actually. And for question 2, are you for or against it? I am for the Semi-Evo, of course. What a question. We've been waiting for this since 2012 because it allows you to build a stronger deck and maybe even a chance to hit 1500 ELO. For the moment, I haven't seen any Semi-Evos, but I think there was probably 1 or 2 decks considering the other cards that I saw, so let's say between 5 or 10%. For me, it doesn't really change anything, because if you're not a good player, then you can't get to top 100 easily anyway. I played a bit 5 years ago at the time where Wanda 1-star was usual. This is really only a help for the very good players, and in my opinion, it's part of the challenge in a competitive mode to play against that kind of opponent. At the same time though, it's really a bet. You know, it's a risk. Your draw can be much stronger, but it can also be a lot weaker. So, I don't think it's a problem for me. In addition, it's a good thing for players without money, because they can then sell their Semi-Evos at a higher price. Well, maybe I'm in top 100 ELO right now, but I'm not a top player for sure. Anyway, I've seen Semi-Evo cards about every 4 to 5 games on average. And for 2, I don't really like these Semi-Evo cards at all. First, I don't have them, and I'm not going to buy them, and only the rich players can afford it. Though, I don't think they're imbalanced. Hello! I've met the low levels 2 or 3 times with decks of Semi-Evos, and already above 1300 I'm sure I'm going to see more and more. It's logical if I use the Semi-Evo that I'm going to be using that after I come to set a higher score. I think it's also an interesting idea, especially because you'll get to see various types of decks. But the one sore point is that it will run cards that are 2 or 3 stars. Quite difficult. They'll be very expensive. Hello, friend! I meet them regularly, and I am against this. Short and sweet. Hello! Thanks for asking me, and sorry for my English. You don't have to apologize. Question 1. I've seen them in a few matches, maybe 1 or 2 out of 10, so 10 to 20% of matches. And question 2, I don't really mind the Semi-Evo changes. I think that the only really change is for the rich players. The only one that can use these is the rich players, and I can't. So I expect that you understand. Sorry for my English again. Thanks. Again, all of you, your English is amazing. Look, I may be American. I may be asking you to speak in English. But man, if you are speaking in my language and helping me out here and giving me this information, I have no right to criticize your English. I mean, I am an English teacher, so I just hope all of you, especially if you're one of the ones who wrote me about this, I don't care if your English is perfect or not. Your English was amazing, and I am just so happy that you decided to help me out by answering some of these. So thank you all so much, again, for writing in. Hello, I'm... no problem to answer. Sorry if my English is not very good at all, though. Number 1, I've seen a lot of Semi-Evo cards in ELO. For example, Banky 2-star, Yayoi 3-star, Charlie 3 and 4-star, Vermin N 3-star, Pericles 4-star, and I use some others as a secret. Number 2, I'm okay with the Semi-Evos, but I'm not okay with some changes that the staff did. For example, cards like Ong and Dawn and Pericles. They're crazy. They're too overpowered. And the worst thing is that they stopped and removed the ability of Gina, and now I can't use Gina 2-star. I have no problem if they choose some cards to give them more potential, but please, don't change cards. Don't change the old cards like Gina. Please give her back her ability. And, in my opinion, you should allow Semi-Evo 1-stars in Semi-Evo 1-stars in ELO as well. Why not? Even if it's just 1. If you're really having trouble, then just allow 1, if that's possible. Hi, sorry about my English is very bad, but I'm going to try to answer your questions. Number 1, now I've seen Semi-Evo cards about every 3 matches, and only Pussycats, mostly Yayoi and Charlie. But I think in the coming days they'll be used much more. And number 2, I'm against the system of Semi-Evo cards. I don't agree with the change of the cards. I would have preferred that they put the Semi-Evo cards like the old time, maybe with new cards usable in Semi-Evo mode. For number 1, I've seen Yayoi and Charlie in almost every Pussycats deck, and Semi-Evo cards from Jungle and Freaks are also been very common this week. Answer number 2, I'm against the Semi-Evo cards. You've buffed some Semi-Evo cards for ELO format. Most cards got only -1 or -2 damage and -1 star. Some clans like Pussycats got obviously stronger than other clans, for example Piranhas. Lisbeth is one of the cards buffed with Semi-Evo update. However, Lisbeth is ELO banned. These changes aren't balanced and well planned. Sorry. Hello, I speak English so I can hear you. Number 1, I've only seen 2 cards Semi-Evo this week, Yayoi and Belmundo, so not as often as people were expecting. Number 2, personally I'm for Semi-Evo and ELO. They were banished because 1-stars were unbalancing the meta, but now with the 1-star ban there isn't this problem. Also, Semi-Evos can give some diversity to ELO, even if some of them are a little bit too strong. So let's wait and see what's going to happen, and reaching the top without Semi is still possible. I don't play them at the moment. Have a good day. I don't think that this is a good mod, because every time my card is not a Semi-Evo card. So please, don't change the rules of ELO. Hi Xonia. Number 1, above 1300 to 1350, almost every player was running Semi-Evo cards in their decks. Me too, of course. And I'm sure this will be the same for the rest of the week and the coming weeks. Number 2, the meta has totally changed with this. I'm not against it, and I like the fact that ELO can turn more competitive. So Semi-Evo, you're welcome. Thanks. Hey man, I know who you are, and I'm actually a fan of you. I watch your vids. Thanks. I would like to help you on the video and give you my opinion. On your first question, no, I don't see them often. Only the older players seem to use them. But I actually tested a few decks with it, and I think that it's really nice add to the game. It's a nice add to the game mode variety with the decks. So I actually like the changes a lot, but that's just my opinion. And if you have any more questions, you can ask me if you want. Hey, I speak English, but not perfectly. Number 1 is hard to say for me because I got 1300 ELO before the changes, and always when I have 1300 I'm very careful. But in the few games I have played, I've seen them a few times at other high ELO players. In Survivor ELO, I'm a few times. I like the changes, but I think they should also allow 1-star cards like Wanda. I would love to play a Semi-Evo deck by myself, but they are very expensive now, so this is the disadvantage. Hello, I'm going to try to answer you. Sorry my English isn't very good in advance. Answer number 1, this week I saw approximately 10 people playing semis. And 2, yes, I am for this. I find that it brings a newness to the game. On the other hand, the semis are very difficult to manage for those who don't have a lot of clints. I do speak. I've seen a few players at it, but I think they were just trying them. They used 2 to 3 cards at once, so I guess it's just for that. I didn't find anyone playing them well, though. Number 2, question 2, I'm kind of against it. I never found any interest about Semi-Evos, so I could say it's an easy no, but somehow I kind of like the new cards that came into the metagame. There are a few cards that needed new stats and a fresh new role, and they have it. For example, Lindsay is a perfect 2-star for the Riots, and a needed one, which personally I agree with. But if I had to decide, I'd say that I don't really like it overall. Oh, and then at the bottom, by the way, how's the channel called? I followed a few people for UR, but since they were just gameplays and that kind of thing, I found them boring. I haven't found anyone speaking about the news and those things, and I'd really like to see it. Which brings me to my first question for you guys today, actually. Do you like this idea, this kind of news roll kind of video? If you do like it, then maybe when there are more changes in the future, I can do more of these. If you don't like it, then write that in the bottom as well, so that I don't waste your time with videos you're not interested in. So let me know down below, what do you think of this video? Hey, I do study English in order to become a translator from English to French, so I hope my English is at least understandable. Definitely is. About question 1, I've seen less Semi-Evo cards than I expected. When that kind of change comes out, there are usually many people who want to try it out, whereas this time, I've only seen semis from time to time. And for question 2, I'm totally for the Semi-ELO changes. I'd even say that I was waiting for them to come back since a long time ago. I'm a bit disappointed by the 1-stars remaining banned, but, well, I understand the point and the will to balance. This was by Love, who did allow me to use his name. Then from Borsa Glemt, who also allowed me to use his name. Good afternoon, I speak English and I'm really pleased to help you. So, for number 1, in these 2 days, I've seen some Semi-Evo, but not as many as I thought. Especially Charlie 4-star, Noodile 2-star, Barbacodal 4-star, Clara 4-star, Yayoi CR 3-star, Verminen 3-star, and Marcus 4-star. Basically the cards which have more potential and less clan bans this week. But I think we'll see them more often during the weekend and in the following weeks, since it's something new players tend to waste their semi-evos for the top ELO rank on Saturday and Sundays. And 2, I'm against the semi-evo ELO changes. I'm not uninterested to play them, except some of them for pure curiosity. It doesn't really help the metagame, and the issues about the game that the players' activity has decreased. It should have been tested before we did it officially, and some of the historical semi-evo or filler cards have been removed. Thank you for this message, and I hope this helps you out. Oh, I haven't seen a lot of semi-evos yet. In my opinion, the reason for this is that most of them are really expensive. I think I'm for the semi-evo changes, but something that would be nice is if you could play semi-evo in tournaments or ELOs, or in, Survivor or ELO, that you don't get any XP for your cards, so that it doesn't evolve, because as I said, they're really expensive and it's not fun to buy another one. I think that could be a pretty good change for ELO, so that we could see more cards coming into the meta and everything. For the moment, I think most of the semi-evos are pretty balanced. I probably don't know a lot of them yet though, but I'll get used to it. Hey there, no problem at all. I can't say too much that I saw a lot of use for semi-evo cards. I would say about 1 out of every 7 to 8 players, or maybe. I use them myself. I consider the change interesting, as it opens up many new ways of gameplay. I'm disappointed though from the fact that the semi-evo cards evolve during ELO and Survivor matches. Does this mean that the prices are going to skyrocket for cards with an expiration date? Only the economically fittest will be able to keep up. That's the way that I see it anyway. Hope it helps. Hey Xonia, isn't that a girl's name? I hope my English lesson works now. Number 1, I saw a lot of semi-evos. In fact, I'm using a semi-evo deck. And 2, this is an excellent and fresh change to the game. I'm playing so much more than the past week because this is almost like having a lot of new cards. But it still kind of feels incomplete. The staff needs to give the option to devolve cards and the option to stop the auto-evolution, just like in Fantasy Rivals. Good luck with your video, bro. Hello, I'm going to try to speak English. Number 1, I haven't seen any semi-evos yet, and I haven't used them yet. I haven't seen the need to, but it's possible that maybe mono bangers, it will happen at the end of the week with Vermin N 3 stars. Number 2, I'm for this. They should never have been banned in the first place. Why are there evolutions for your cards if you can't use them? Doesn't make any sense. Best regards. For question, since semi-evos were allowed in ELO, I saw a few players using them, maybe because the prices are expensive for some cards, but this last day I saw a few more players using them. And 2, I'm for the semi-evos allowed in ELO, because this gives us more options to create better decks, and use properly the cards that we have in our collection. Sorry for my bad English. It wasn't bad, you did great. Thank you very much, and hope I could help. I don't know. Not so often. I don't see them so often, but at the end of the week, I think that situation will change. And 2, I'm very glad to see the semi-evo cards and hope that their number will increase. Diversity in ELO is a good thing. Hello! Well, I've seen many semi-evos, and it reminded me from years and years ago when the ELO was very different. I think that it was a really nice change, and finally giving more weight to the more strategic mode of the game, such as ELO. I'm really happy. Although, personally, I don't use them. Thank you for considering my opinion, and apologize for the previous message. I haven't seen a lot of semi-evo decks this week, maybe only about 15%. And 2, I feel that semi-evo changes were useless since they removed the option to have level 1 cards. Furthermore, the semi-evos are too vulnerable to SOA in my opinion, and semis should be used only as low-level wallers or in SOA immune clans at any level. On another note, semis are also expensive to maintain because you can only use them until they level up. And even if you sell them at their max level, Kate will get that sweet 5%. Overall, I personally think that semis aren't worth it, and that the top 100 is reachable without them. I'm actually using a deck this week to beat the semis easily. I published it too. So if you're having issues with these, it looks like you can probably find some decks that have been published just in order to help you beat some of these semis. Hello, well, I've seen semi-evo cards out of 1 every 5 games. And, this new change does not really bother me, though there are some OP cards now. But in the end, I don't really care too much about this. Hello, for question 1, I think half the players above 1300 play them, just like me. And for question 2, I think it's a good idea, but some are completely broken. Cortez and Linzia, seriously. I'll try them all because I'm curious, but I don't think that they all deserve to exist. But the worst part is that some former great and funny semi-evos, like Warren 1-star, Massive 1-star, and Unagi 1-star, are now unusable, which is stupid. I've seen semi-evo cards about a dozen times so far this week, and so far I wouldn't consider any of them to be considered OP. Personally, I congratulate UR for making this decision because it's opened up so many new doors for ELO players on deck building that was, for the absolutely longest time, not allowed. Some 5-star cards that were once considered worthless in ELO are now given a chance to shine and show their true potential at their earlier levels. It's as if we were just given a new release of 200 cards at all different levels that we didn't have access to before. Noelle is an 8-3 confidence, power, and damage +2 monster for 3 stars, instead of having to take up the extra stars for a measly 1 damage. Pericles loses only 1 power for 1 star. Wanda is once again the almighty 8-1 at level 1, etc, etc. Also, as an added bonus that I'm not sure if you guys have thought about, but it will make the prices for decent semi-evo cards skyrocket in the market, especially for level 1 cards, even more so than they used to be. In conclusion, it adds variety, artwork, new ways to build decks, and against chance for what we were thought to be mediocre 5 and 4-star cards to shine with their abilities activated at earlier levels for better stars. Thank you. I saw a lot of decks with Semi-Evo this week. I use them too, and I'm for the changes, but I think that it would be better to put the 1-stars back in again. Hello, I've seen a few times, but not many so far. And 2, it's an old idea, which I agree is the only downside. Sorry, it's an old idea, which I agree, and the only downside is the players with less clints that may not benefit anything like that. Well, thanks for asking. As for your question 1, I've seen very few times Semi-Evo, so I'm playing with this one in Semi-Evo, so it's comfortable for me to play with. And for question 2, I don't really care about it, but I think the changes are good for the game. I hope these new changes for ELO, I hope new changes will also come in ELO for bans and unbans. Hey, I speak a little bit of English, but I'm not one of the best players, as you said, so my opinion might be uninteresting. But in order to answer you, I haven't seen, or very rarely seen, Semi-Evo cards in ELO this week, and I don't really care about the changes. Question 1, not so much. Maybe in 30 battles I've only seen it in 2 or 3 games. And 2, I'm against it as it gives an advantage to the rich players. Hey Xonia, thanks for being interested in my answer. The truth is that I've not seen Semi-Evo too much this week, but I'm not okay with this. Actually, I'm not even okay with 5 stars in ELO. I think that this is supposed to be a strategic mode, and Semi-Evo cards break the balance. Thanks for asking. For the first question, I see that there are a few people using Semi-Evo cards, and probably because of the price. For your second question, I think the Semi-Evo cards are a good thing for the game because it makes more competitive and it helps us to remember the old times. Sorry if my English is wrong because I'm still learning. Your English is great. Hello. I'm not American or I'm not a native English speaker, but I can answer these questions. Question 1, I've seen them about 15 times. And for question 2, I'm for semi-ELO in ELO because they can bring a lot of diversity, but I'm against the changes of the states of some of the older cards like Rolf 4-star, Unagi 1-star, and Warren 1-star. Hi, for question 1, I haven't really seen them a lot, maybe only 20% of the time. And for question 2, I'm against Semi-Evo because they're expensive. However, I like the possibility of having more playable cards. And that wraps up all of the replies, all 45 replies. I have the boxes at the top that you can look at again. It seems like most people only saw them a few times. It seems like the majority of people are for the Semi-Evo change in the top 100 that at least responded to mine. And of course, most people said that they didn't say anything about whether or not they were using the cards. However, if you notice, there were 5 people who said that they do not and will not use them, and they were in the top. So obviously not as many as some of the others, but it is still possible. Alright, so let's take a look at both sides. The reasons for this and against it. I'm going to read these side by side so that you can make the decision for yourself. Some bad older cards have now become usable, while the old Semi-Evos were changed, which is not cool. The poor can sell their 0 XP cards for even more, making a higher profit. but the privileges go to the rich in ELO. Most of the people said they thought that most of the semis were balanced, but some of the new semis weren't balanced and were a little OP, they said. Some of them were excited for the new bans and unbans in ELO as a result, but this doesn't help fix the loss of player activity. They also mentioned a bigger card pool for the current metagame, but it doesn't really change the meta, it just changes the cards. There's more diversity via having more options and uses for cards. Whereas they said we also need the same functionality as FRs, Fantasy Rivals, no XP in ELO or Survivor, and the ability to de-level our cards. Whereas reaching the top is still possible without them, and ELO is about being the best, no matter what. Some people said that, this is a part of UR's history. It helps us remember the past, and this is not a new thing. Whereas others said that some of the one-star cards should also be allowed, which some people said was the problem. It also gives more weight to ELO, makes it more competitive, whereas some clans received unequal buffs by this. Why should we have card levels if we can't use them? But 2-star and 3-star semis are going to be super expensive. It was almost like we got a release of 200 new cards, but some others said that if we do this, then all the cards should be semi-evo. And then finally, the ideas about semis or semis. They have weaker power or damage, a risk of causing worse low-star draws, they're vulnerable to SOA, they can be countered by anti-semi decks, and they're very expensive. But they're better overall at lower levels, they free up more stars, they maintain their powerful abilities, they're not always drawn in your hand, and they can make the rich richer. So, I hope this gave you a nice kind of outline and understanding of what a lot of the top players are saying about this right now for the semi-evos in ELO. And I hope that some of the admins as well have a chance to watch this video. If you are watching this, thank you so much. I hope that you found this really helpful in kind of summarizing the opinions of a lot of the players, and especially those who are the top players in ELO for this game. If you like this video, then please make sure to click like that. If you like this video, then please make sure to click that like button, and don't forget to share it with your friends if you found this helpful, or if you want to help generate conversation about whether or not we should keep semi-evo and ELO. I think it's really important that the admins know how we feel about this and help adjust for both of us so that they know what we would like and we know what they really want from us as well. So I really hope that this was kind of an impartial way. I'd love to tell you my opinions, but I'm not going to do that. Thank you guys again for watching. If you really like this and if you enjoyed it a lot, then don't forget to subscribe for more of my Urban Rivals videos. This is Xonia, and you've been in the zone.